Welcome to another episode of The Brand Called You, a podcast and podcast show that brings you leadership lessons, knowledge, experience, and wisdom from thousands of successful individuals from around the world. I am your host, Ashutosh Garg, and today I'm privileged to welcome a very, very senior and accomplished individual from the world of academia and someone who's giving back a lot to society in the US, Mr. Sree Sreenath from the US. Sreenathji, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
Thank you. Mr. Sreenath is the president of VaYU, Vivekananda Yoga University. He's a professor in electrical engineering and computer science department at Case Western Reserve University, Cleveland, Ohio. He's the former president of Sewa International, and he's recently been inducted into the Cleveland Hall of Fame. So Sreenathji, after such an amazing journey, let me start by asking you to tell me about your own journey in brief.
Yes, it's been, I'm an electrical engineer through and through. All my degrees were in that. But I always felt a tug towards something that I need to do towards humanity. So my first venture was back in 1990 when UNESCO in particular wanted us to do a summer project on interpreting global climate change, global warming. They were very honest at the time. They used to call it global warming. So global warming. And then using a particular technical way of engineers look at things, okay, which is called systems.
Right.
So look at it holistically, at the same time, trying to pick out the parts that are the most important ones that interact. So that led me through a decade and a half journey with the United Nations, World Bank, and UNESCO, trying to learn about how we can use engineering modeling approaches to build models that can look into the future for countries on different aspects, whether it is water, whether it is HIV/AIDS spread, or whether it is energy. So I spent that much amount of time, and then what happened was life intervened. Children were growing up, and I was 150,000 air miles a year. And then, of course, so decided that I'm going to take the same methodology and apply it to mammalian cancers. So that was another amazing journey of 10 years. And then I kind of serendipitously, I got into Sewa International, which is a humanitarian organization at that point in time, way back in 2009, budding up. And that was another journey for about 12 years that I did, in which we were able to work on disasters locally in the United States as well as worldwide. So Sewa International USA works in multiple countries like Iraq with the existence in the Nepal earthquake, during the Uttarakhand disaster, the end of the Sri Lankan civil war, and more recently, we were able to transport about 12,500 Indian students in Ukraine and send them across borders through our volunteers.
Fantastic! Wow.
Yeah. A complement to that, we were able to send 638 African students who had no representation in Ukraine from places like Cameroon and smaller countries, and transport them across the Ukrainian army lines, through the Russian army lines, to an Indian ship, and they were brought to Bharat, and then they flew back to their countries.
Amazing.
This is the kinds of the work that I was involved in for 12 years. I continue to work with Sewa International. However, again, life intervened. I was thinking that I was doing great. I have positive stress. Then I had a cardiac arrest when one of the strangest places, heart attack actually, on an emergency room table.
Wow.
Yeah, I had angina. So my wife called the ambulance. They were there, COVID time. Nobody was allowed. And then I'm waking up from my, fog. A physician is pointing out towards the monitor and saying, "You're having a heart attack right now." So I was looking, as an engineer, I'm curious. I'm looking at the squiggles and I couldn't make out anything. 20 minutes into it, I was in a cath lab. I was watching on the monitor how they put in the stent, and they released the stent. I had immediate relief.
Amazing.
Okay, so at that point in time, we had started a project way back in 2014 to bring yoga education to United States at the graduate level. So so we're starting a university basically, and my charge was to help put together a license, and we believe that maybe it is a couple of years. That's what I thought. It took 7 long years, primarily because people in California are liberal, but the system is conservative. The establishment is conservative. They don't understand Zumba doesn't have a PhD. Why should yoga have? That's the matter. So here we are talking about 2,500 years plus of literature. Every century produced gems of literature in yoga.
Correct.
But they don't know that. Okay, so that was a struggle. And on top of that, in 2014, we said that we are going to do it over the internet. Okay, and again, that was a strange thing. Even though the technologies have been around, I had been involved in an internet project way back in 1996, wherein we connected 15 universities across the world, from Beijing, Kyoto to St. Petersburg to Barcelona to Argentina and Brazil and United States, of course, like that. So, I was familiar with the technologies and all that. So I thought, there are certain aspects of yoga we can teach, the studies part of it, of course, the physical. So that project was lying dormant. And once I had my this cardiac incident, then one of my dear friends was a high school classmate who was a yoga teacher. He said, I'm going to come on Zoom and I'm going to teach you every day yoga. So I did 1 hour of yoga 7 days a week for 6 months. By the time, then I had to have a triple bypass. 5th day, they kicked me out of the hospital because I was hale enough. And, in the 6 months, I got all my vitals together and it was perfect. Like, that was an awakening moment for me. I said that I have worked in Sewa for 12 years, and Sewa had come to a stability. So, like, for example, in 2021, between 2009, when our national team took over, to 2021, we were able to take it from 325,000 annual revenue to $48 million.
Wow.
So that was, and the thing is, all of us were volunteers, director and above, nobody was paid. Okay, I had my day job, which is being a professor. And so it was a very different kind of organization. It had no headquarters.
Correct.
It was distributed. And everything. So Sewa had come to a level that it can manage itself. I mean, there is enough back. So I said, maybe I should try out the university.
Correct.
Yoga benefited me personally. Okay, so I thought others should also benefit.
Correct.
That's when I took over. I accepted being the responsibility of the president of.
Fantastic. Fantastic. So let's now talk about the Vivekananda Yoga University.
Yes.
How does the philosophy of Swami Vivekananda influence the teaching and the approach at VaYU?
As you know, yoga has many flavors. There are many of them that have been invented in the United States. Okay, it's like hot yoga and power yoga and stuff.
Correct.
You have different flavors, different philosophies. So we come from a tradition from the Vivekananda Kendra, so that lineage of yoga, and attended to that. As we know, Swami Vivekananda brought yoga to the United States in 1893.
Correct.
So, in Chicago. So that influenced us to say that these are the high ideals need to achieve. And the tradition, of course, yoga tradition, we are following Vivekananda tradition. But to have a name that is aspirational, that in 1,000 years, Vivekananda Yoga University or VaYU should be there. It should be spread over. We should have students all around the world. We are bringing yoga to humanity because, as you know, one of the challenges in the West is the healthcare. Okay, the cost of healthcare is zooming. I'm sure in Bharat also, in India also.
Correct.
But in the United States, it is going crazy. So there is a large segment of people that have been left unattended. These are the people who are not very, very poor. but not middle class or rich either. So they fall between the cracks. And we thought, and especially ethnic minorities, like whether it is the Native Americans or the African Americans or the Hispanics. These are the people, like all these three groups have high incidence of diabetes for various reasons, genetic, and also bad food habits, multiple things. And the comorbidities are not managed very well. Yoga can do that, and we have data. One of the things that VaYU adheres to is, we say that we are going to shine the light of science on yoga. Okay, what does it mean? It's not just like we invented or we are demonstrating that yoga is scientific. No. On the other hand, we want to illustrate to the world that yoga is scientific. It's scientific, and it is scientific. Now, what does it mean? As you know, in the last couple decades, this having evidence-based has become a very big deal.
Right.
Having spent some time in biology, which I ran away from for 25 years, and then I had to relearn along with my students, understanding mammalian cancers, primarily leukemia and prostate cancer is what I concentrated on during 10 years. And I knew the issues, and the healthcare aspect of it is extraordinarily expensive, and it is not guaranteed. It is not like science. It is an art. So probably that's why physicians call it practice. Okay, they practice on you. So the yoga can provide solutions and managing of comorbidities, management of diseases, like be it Alzheimer's, be it nervous type of diseases, be it digestive, and so on and so forth. So we thought that bringing that to humanity. See, Bharat has given this gift to the mankind. How can we be a channel to that? So our mission is to ensure that humanity gets exposed to yoga and yoga Chikitsa aspect of it, which America doesn't know. If you go and ask any American the word yoga, they know it.
Correct.
Okay. There are probably about 45 million adults out of the 220 plus that are doing yoga once a week or once a day. They are doing that. But the yoga Chikitsa aspect of it, the therapeutical aspect of it, not just keeping the body well, but also the mind and body. This connection is something that is our quest to educate as well as research. That's what VaYU or Vivekananda Yoga University stands for.
Very, very interesting. Very interesting. And Sreenath, can you also tell me a little bit about some new developments or initiatives that VaYU is currently working on, and what impact do you hope these will have in the field of yoga?
Yes, these are few of them. I'm going to tell you. Some of it is we are starting right now, and others is aspirational, meaning this is our vision.
Correct.
One of the things that we want to do, especially in the corporate sector, there has been a tremendous amount of pressure because COVID. I think same things are reflection in schools where children are unable to concentrate. Children as young as being in kindergarten are unable to concentrate, and they're having difficulties. At the college level, we are seeing certain set of students, and we think the students are distracted. They are unable to concentrate, and they're having mental disease challenges because it has not been treated properly. And it is not, you go to a psychiatrist and then they give you a pill, and then after a few months your diagnosis changes from you are not schizophrenic anymore, you are a bipolar. And then it shifts and shifts and shifts. And the Western approach of putting pills into your mouth is not helping this class of students.
Correct.
And we are seeing that at the university level, and we believe this is the COVID phenomenon also. Okay, it has been exacerbated by this the generation,
Correct.
millennials and so on. But the COVID really brought point to it. These are problems that I don't believe that we don't believe that pills are going to solve. This is where yoga can come in, whether it is prisons, whether it is schools, or whether it is hospitals, or whether it is corporate.
Mm.
So we are planning a series of centers around the United States. Starting the first one this fall in Los Angeles. We got funding for it. So these are called the True Centers, TRW, Teaching, Research, and Wellness Centers. You know, we have a master's program and a PhD program. We're a purely graduate research university.
Right.
We have 40% of our teachers from India and 60% of our teachers from the United States. So these are all people, because we are an online based programs, we are able to attract professors from Harvard, from MIT, from UCLA, and so on, because they are islands by themselves working on yoga in those.
Right.
But here we provide a crucible for all of them to work together. So this has really helped trying to get these top people in the field to come and educate our students. But there is also a practical aspect of it. You know, yoga, it can be taught, but it needs to be practiced. The abhyasa is very important. Along with that, you have to, the prayoga is also important. So they need to work with people. Correct. So corporate provides a great way in which, and then schools, prisons provide a great way in which we can interact and transmit it, and especially working with minorities. So the True Centers, we are going to dot it across the United States over the next 10 years. Los Angeles, Silicon Valley, Chicago, New Jersey, New York, Washington, D.C., Miami, Houston, and Atlanta. That's where kind of, on Phoenix. So this, we are going to circle the United States in the places where there is concentration of commerce. And then that is going to, we are going to bring yoga chikitsa as well as yoga abhyasa to the American people in the right way, not just the aspect of it, but the yoke of the mind and the body.
Absolutely. Well said. Great response, sir. Thank you. You also have spoken about yoga chikitsa a few times. Tell me a little bit more about this for my viewers and listeners.
Yeah, it's a reality that we pop pills. Okay, it's a reality that we have allopathy. We have to live with it. Correct. But there are also other modes. Okay, you know, allopathy is excellent. I mean, I being a recipient of it, so somebody intervened at the right time, and today I'm alive. You know, it could have gone the other way. My lower descending artery was blocked 99%.
Wow.
Okay. So you can imagine. So I you know, have great respect for that. But you know, it is like finding a hammer and then saying that everything is a nail. Sometimes you need to use a screwdriver. Sometimes you use a wrench. And these are the ones that I think complementary, you know, modes. Yoga is one such. Homeopathy is another. The Ayurveda is a Siamese twin of yoga. So there are many modes of this. So when we talk about integrative medicine, okay, and you know, also there is predictive medicine, that is something that at the turn of the century I was involved in with systems biology, in which like, can you personalize medicine? For instance, nowadays you could go to high-end clinics for knee replacement. They will scan your existing knee and recreate your knee when you are younger and prepare exactly that knee and replace. So that is personalized medicine. Okay, in a similar way, when we have certain things, and because we all have different experiences over the lifetime due to our occupations or bringing up and so on. So maybe as a young child, you might have had a rheumatoid fever. Okay, so now how can yoga complement that? Okay, it is not going to replace. Yoga should not be replacement. It should complement it. And then there are modes in which the other form of medicines are unable to touch, and yoga can. Those are the ones that we want to identify. It is our quest at Vivekananda Yoga University to research those things, be able to provide alternatives. Okay, and for example, people sitting in front of the computers all the time, there are ways in which you can handle it. You know, maybe they can practice 15 minutes of certain yogic positions so that they can relieve their back pain. The management, see, pain management is another thing. So there are so many aspects that yoga can contribute, and that's what we want to bring it. And then we want to bring it in a scientific manner, with evidence-based manner that is acceptable to the West. Here in India, we say, okay, our guru said something, and we follow it. They don't. Okay, they want it. Okay, where's the evidence? Where's the data? That's where VaYU comes in.
Very interesting. Very, very interesting. So Sreenathji, I've got time for one more question. And this question is for the thousands of people who will listen to our conversation. Based on your own amazing journey and based on your deep understanding of yoga, as the head of the president of Vivekananda Yoga University, what would you say are 3 lessons you would want a lot of our viewers and listeners to take away from your own understanding of Abhyasa and Chikitsa, and from our conversation?
Yeah, I would like them to first look at, you can trust the mode, in this case, yoga, but you should be also curious about evidence. You need to say, how is it going to help me? What are the practices that are going to help me to my particular thing? What is it that I'm looking for?
Correct.
One that all of us, young and old, need to realize. We are slowly, the kshaya is happening, the deterioration is happening, whether we like it or not. We are
Correct.
not as spriteful as in our younger days. Or if you are spriteful right now, then the time will come that you will see that lack of, especially keeping your body fit. Yoga can do that, and yoga is there for any age. Be you are a child, be you are the old person, and you are starting today or you started 10 years ago. Doesn't matter. And it is not easy to keep our discipline in doing this. It is travel disrupts, and then suddenly you are out of sync. Maybe you had a health incident, and then but we need to bring that back. So that is first of all, evidence. Okay. Second of all, they keep getting back into the routine again, and disruptions happen to us all the time. The third is that there are it is always need to be a combination of things in life. It cannot be one or the, if you been practicing yoga since the day you were born, perhaps you would be sprightly in your 90s. Okay. But for many of us, that is not an option, choice, or did not do it. So, but it is never late. It's never late to start.
Very, very interesting. And on that note, Sreenathji, and your 3 amazing lessons, be curious about everything, but look for evidence that you said. Number 2, you said was get back into the routine. We tend to stray very often. And I think this is such a powerful message, that get back into routine, no matter how much you may stray. And the third one you said, with life is a combination of many different things. One single thing is not the cure-all or the be-all of life. Very, very amazing, and words of wisdom coming from you. Thank you so much for speaking to me about your own amazing journey. I love the way you spoke so much about your own health and how you were observing everything in the cath lab as an engineer. That was such a wonderful story. Thank you also for talking to me about so many different aspects of yoga and what you're doing at Vivekananda Yoga University. And finally, thank you for speaking to me about Sewa. I know I've always read about Sewa and the amazing work that Sewa is doing. Till I've met you, I did not realize that you were at the helm of affairs, and it's an honor to meet you. And thank you for telling all of us about the amazing work you did, bringing so many thousands of students out of Ukraine back to Bharat. Thank you for speaking to me, Sreenathji, and good luck to you.
Dhanyawad, thank you for having me. It's been a great pleasure and a wonderful conversation.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to the brand called You Videocast and Podcast, a platform that brings you knowledge, experience, and wisdom of hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. Do visit our website www.tbcy.in to watch and listen to the stories of many more individuals. You can also follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search for the brand called You.